The first thing I saw was that girl. She had like long nails and she kind of looked like me, but she was shorter. She had really long hair. It was all blurry. Everything was black about her. She tapped on me and then she hid behind the door. I don't know who she is. I just see people who I don't know. And the first time I saw her, she wanted me to come play downstairs with her, but I said no and I didn't want to. And then she just kept tapping while I went back into sleep. She just tapped me and hid behind the door. And I went to go tell my mom and dad, and even they were freaked out. Right when my mom and dad came in, I didn't see her anymore. But now, sometimes I still see her and other people. Like, one time my cousin saw someone and I saw them too. And I didn't want them to see anyone because I don't want them to be scared. My uncle told me if you get more scared, then they come more. I saw this other dude. He's like really tall. He's just really scary. I don't know how to describe him, but he's really creepy to me. Everyone that I see, except for my grandma, but I don't really see her rarely now. Whoever I see, I don't know them. I don't know why. I asked my mom and dad and my auntie to know who they are and or to see them. And another time when I saw someone, she was just standing there, like staring at me. So I mostly see them at my dad's house. I don't know why. It's just maybe because I'm alone. Because I have my own room in my dad's house. And I don't have my mom's. The first time I saw the tall man, I was in this hotel, and it was really a creepy hotel. It had a hole in the wall, and me and my grandma were in the room, and then it's just on the corner of me and my grandma's eye just flew past into the bathroom. We checked and no one was there. Weird.
Because we've experienced some things together, or when it first started happening, and like recently, I don't know, and she might be a little too little to explain some things, but my brother said he was taking a nap on the couch, and he like fell asleep, and his kids were over, and they're all playing, and he said he was like sleeping awake, and he said all of a sudden he remembers saying, Uncle, that lady was tapping you to wake you up. And he was still out of it, and he was like, oh, okay, I went back to sleep. But then he like, within, you know how you're in your sleep and you're like, wait, someone was tapping me. And he said he popped up and he goes, was there someone tapping me? He said he remembers something hitting his forehead and to wake him up. And goes, yeah, that lady was tapping you to wake you up. And he was like, what did she look like? And who was she? And didn't know who it was. But he told me he didn't tell anyone. He didn't tell anyone else. He didn't tell my parents. He didn't tell my sister. He only told me because he was like, I couldn't believe that happened. And she came over and told me, like, that lady's tapping you on your forehead. And I never asked her right away, and then after a while I was like, who was the lady that was tapping your uncle on the forehead? And she was like, I don't know. I believe her. Because at first she would say to me, Mom, no one believes me. And it took me a while. It wasn't that I didn't believe her. It was more of I was so scared. I didn't know how to handle it. Like when she would tell me there was a little girl in the house. And to see your kids scared, you're just like, there's no other little girl in the house. But she sees something and you're wondering, oh, maybe kids have their imaginary friends. Or what was she? Did she see something on TV? You know, all the kids play YouTube. And she just said, no, Mom, there's a girl in the house. And she keeps bothering me at night. When we moved from there, I thought for sure it would be done, but it wasn't. And she's told me other times of people she's seen, or like someone that has passed in the family, like my grandma, her great grandma, who she never really even met when she was older. Like she met when she was little, but she doesn't remember her very well, but she knew that was her grandma.
When I saw her the first time when she asked me to come play downstairs, I think she got mad when I told her no, so I'm pretty sure she said, this is my house. Her voice sounded weird. It really didn't sound normal to me. It was really scary when I saw her, and I can feel them. Like one time I was just sitting on the ground at my dad's house, and I just saw the tall man. Then he just started coming closer every time I looked back. And then I just felt a little tap on my head. And I looked back and no one was there. It's just weird when they tap you. Or I don't know people who I see. I only know my grandma and this other. I don't know who she is, but I think it's my grandma, my dad's grandma. But it's just weird when they tap you because you don't know when it's coming. I was just sleeping and then I just woke up and I felt like a tap on me and no one was there. No one was on the bed. And now I was sick because we had school, so everyone went to school. And I just stayed home because I was sick. And then I just felt a tap on me. And I checked and no one was there. I'm just scared of the dark now because I've seen a lot of people in the dark. So I'm just scared of the dark. If I'm just alone in the dark or someone's with me, I just go to them. Or I just run, to the light. Because when I'm with someone, I feel safe and I don't see anyone that much. But if I'm alone, I feel like someone's watching me, but I don't know who, or I just feel like I'm just gonna see something. What do they want from me? 'Cause my mom told me ever since I was a kid I was seeing stuff.
I don't know what she saw. I told her. I said, but because she would, when she started telling me about, I see someone or I seen this little girl, and I said, when you're really little, the first house that we moved into with her, I had told you, she would wave goodbye to somebody that wasn't there all the time. She was 1. That had to be 2014 because that's when we moved. And that's when I first noticed she kept waving to somebody and no one was there. I think, what was it, maybe a few months after I had moved out, her dad had mentioned to me, I thought maybe you brought something or something followed you. Because he said and I never even told him, so I braced myself when I talked a little bit, but he told me that he had felt someone pull his hair before, or say he'll hear little things or a door shut. And whenever she would talk to her dad, he didn't ever want to believe it.
Yeah, he never believed me for some reason. And then one day he just suddenly believed in me, which was weird because now he started believing me.
I think something happened, but I know that when she said there was a tall guy in the house, I know what I heard, and I know that he said he saw a tall man before. So for as long as it took him, it didn't take myself as long, just because I knew I had to, as a mom, you want to protect your kids, and you don't ever want them to feel like you don't believe them or trust. You want them to trust you. And that's what I wanted. I wanted her to trust me and whatever she wants to talk about with me. Like I told her, I said, I will believe you. When we were younger and used to go up on the reservation, they would tell us scary stories. Because just based upon the history of being on a reservation. So like where my great grandma lived, behind there was old powwow grounds, and they used to have powwows back there, and then all of a sudden it's just forest. And they said they would hear singing or dancers dancing, and then there's this road, it's called Old Potato Road, and everyone gets freaked out about it because they would always see people walking, but they had passed or like they weren't there. And I can't remember if it was my mom's sister or her aunt, but they said you're my aunt, so I don't know if they meant my mom's sister or my mom's aunt, because they don't say, oh, your great aunt, they just say your aunt, like they just and they said she was walking down the road, it was just about to be dark, and she seen an older lady, not like her mid-40s, dancing just in a circle on the road, but like up high a little bit, where her feet weren't touching the road. And they always talk, and I don't even know if I want to say this around her, they would always talk about how my grandma we weren't allowed to play cards at my great grandma's house. And we always were like, you know, why? Like, why? And there was always this, oh, grandma had experienced this scary thing that happened to her. And for the longest time, they wouldn't tell us until we got older. And they said that a gentleman had come to the house, knocked on the door, and they were playing cards. My great-grandma and her husband, my great-grandpa, a couple of their friends, they would just play cards every once in a while and hang out. That's all they could really do. And someone had knocked on the door. They opened it. My grandma was always very welcoming. So my great-grandma, she took care of all these kids. She had her own kids, but she adopted a bunch of kids too. She just took any kid that needed to be taken care of. She just wanted to take care of them. So she was always very welcoming. So when she answered the door, it was a gentleman in a black hat, black suit, black gloves, and had said, oh, what are you guys doing? Can I come in for a second? It's rainy, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, come in. What's wrong? You know, what happened? And I can't quite remember what he had said of why he needed to come in, because it was so long ago. They're like, we're just playing cards. Come on in. And he's, oh, I love cards, and sat down to play cards with them. And I guess when he took off his gloves, he had like longer fingernails. And he set the gloves down and they played, and then she wasn't getting a good vibe from him, and she's like, okay, we're gonna head to sleep now. It's getting late. And he had left. And when he had left, she just was like, oh, he was kind of creepy. Don't you guys think he was creepy? And they're like, oh no, I'll get over it. And he had left his hat. So she like kept his hat like on the table and was like, oh, maybe he'll stop by tomorrow or something. Because when you live up on the reservation, you have much places to go. And she didn't really know him. And that night she had went to bed and she could hear the cards shuffling by themselves. So we were never allowed to play cards in our house ever again. Ever. We couldn't play cards, we couldn't nothing. When we went up to the reservation, I was really hesitant. I've always been hesitant on bringing her up there, who she would see, or because I always tell her, I believe you. Don't ever feel like I'm not going to believe you. Because even when we went, I think I told you when we dropped my daughter off at University of Denver, she even had told me we had stopped at a truck stop, and she woke up out of her sleep because everyone was so tired I couldn't drive anymore. And she goes, Mom, we need to go. There's too many people around here. And I was like, she goes, there's people walking all over. And I was just like, okay, let's go. I didn't question her. I didn't second guess her. I just started up the car and we left. I was like, okay, I gotta just slap myself out of it. Like, she's not comfortable here. This was this last fall. It was in September.
Cause my sister we had to drop her off at college, so we just decided to drive my sister. And then we just stopped at this gas station, and she fell asleep, and then I just started seeing people. I have a lot of bad dreams about them, and nightmares about them. But the scary part is that I don't know who they are, and why are they even, what do they want from me? Do they want something from me, or are they just wanting to scare me? And I don't know if it's just me or other people see stuff, or if it's just imaginary, if I'm just thinking, but I don't think it's imaginary. Because if it was imaginary, I feel like I wouldn't be seeing the same people. Cause I never had an imaginary friend. Or at least I think I didn't.
Like, I don't think I did. No, I don't ever remember you having an imaginary friend. But I remember you telling me about the girl asking you to go play.
Yeah, she told me if I wanted to go downstairs and play. And I said no, because who knows if I would have played with her. Who knows what would have happened. That's why I don't trust strangers or anyone.
I feel like sometimes it just depends on who she sees. But the same few people that she sees, she doesn't like it. Like the little girl. But she said you haven't seen that little girl for a long time, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. But when I think she got mad and she said, this is my house, like, I own it. And who knows if it was actually her house, if she died in it and she just was haunting it or something. And who knows what happened in the old hotel when I saw that tall man, because who knows what they have been through.
So we have a big Honor the Earth annual powwow on our reservation. And we go all the time. Usually the third weekend in July. And like the big folklore there is Deer Lady. That's like the big scare up on the reservation. Is Deer Lady. They talk a lot about that, and the only thing I ever experienced with that was we always went up to the powwow every summer. You go back home. It's called Honor the Earth powwow. And my two cousins, myself and my sister, we were staying at my mom's best friend's house. And we stayed, the latest you can stay at the powwow is like midnight, because they have the last dance. And it's usually like a couple's dance. And the boys asked the girls to go out and dance. Like, it was a big deal if, a boy came and asked you. So it's called the two-step. So you go out and you're considered like cool if you were out doing the two-step. But we had went back to my mom's best friend's house. My cousin had snuck alcohol. And it was like the dumbest, nastiest stuff. It was like apple pucker. Doesn't even do anything for you. But we thought we were so cool. Oh, we're gonna sneak this and have some drinks. And we're like, we were like playing cards, and we're each like taking a sip, and we're like, do you guys hear that? And we're like, oh, you guys are just goofing around. And we had the windows open because she didn't have air conditioner. So you just had the fan going, you're hot, and you had the window open. And they're like, it sounds like a horse. And we're like, what? So we turned off like our little music that we had going on, and we could hear it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it sounds like a horse is running around outside. That's weird. We flicked off the light to see if we could see a horse out there, because you could hear the like galloping. We like look out there, and it was pitch black. You could hear the gallop and then stop by us, and we all screamed. Why? I don't know. It was just scary because you couldn't see anything. There was nothing there. And we flicked on the light, and my mom's running in. What are you girls doing? She was just mad. What are you girls screaming for? What are you doing? And we're screaming because we're scared. We don't know what we heard, saw. Like, I didn't see anything. But you knew something was there. Because it's just thick woods out there, like super thick woods. And then we didn't say anything, and then we're like scared because we're trying to hide the stupid apple pucker. And in the morning we wake up and we tell them, and Carla, her name's Carla, was like, I wonder if you heard the deer lady said they saw her. And that was like the like scary stuff that they would talk about a lot on the reservation, was deer lady. But that's like the up for native culture, like it's the deer lady. At least in the northern part, in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Potato Road goes to what's called 49 Hills, is what they call it. And the reason why it's so scary is because it's just straight woods. And there's no houses or anything. And no one wants to build a house there. And I don't know why personally, but I know there's more to it. When we went to like powwows and stuff, but when we went to powwows or visit family, they would tell us things, but it didn't stay with me. I didn't grow up on the reservation, so I never knew too much. Just only what like my cousins would tell me. Or like when we'd go up there, us city kids, I always thought they were messing with us. But then come find out they would really get scared on certain things. Because they'd be like, you walked on Potato Road by yourself? And I was like, yeah, I just went to grandma's. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. And I was like, I'm from North Minneapolis. What do you mean? So when you talking about it, like her story, like me telling her story, or like the native, our American Indian culture, it's two whole different things, but it comes together somehow. Like the girl.
It wasn't at the corner of my eye or anything. It was just the girl. And then I feel like she wants me to be scared.